The computer. What's that mean? A piano lesson. Next on Newscenter 10.
I've heard that practice makes perfect. Linda Williams tells us tonight about a new computer that monitors practice and makes sure it's perfect.
Combine 88 piano keys with the hardware and software of the computer age, and you would get the Allegro Mentor, which translates into lively tutor. Well, lively perhaps, alive definitely not. And the developers of the Mentor say their product is not meant to replace live piano teachers, but to help students between lessons.
In reality, many students will sit and maybe dabble at the piano, which is fine, but nevertheless never accomplish with what the teacher has intended for them to learn. But with the Mentor, between their lessons, with their teacher, they will be able to practice and have an immediate response as to whether they're playing correctly or not. As soon as they would make a mistake, an X would come right by the note mistake. They would then be able to correct it.
For all practical purposes, that is how Allegro Mentor works. Now for the more complicated matter of what makes Allegro Mentor work. A microcomputer that is hooked up to a sensor device placed under the piano's keyboard.
As with any microcomputer, it has a certain amount of memory. It has the ability to be interfaced to a sensor device which is installed inside the piano and which generates electric signals which are result from the person playing the piano. These signals are interpreted by the microcomputer. Information is stored in what we call RAM, random access memory, and we also have the ability to take course material and place that material on magnetic tape cartridges. Information is taken off of that cassette cartridge, and that information is compared by the computer to what the student played at the piano.
In about 3 months, Texcon Corporation plans to begin selling Allegro Mentor to the public, to the tune of about $500. If the product catches on, tickling the ivories could take on a whole new meaning. Linda Williams, News Center 10.
Learning to play the piano isn't easy. Probably the hardest part is getting the motivation to practice. But what if you had a friend to practice with? A computer who helped make learning fun and more efficient? Meet the Allegro Mentor, or Lively Tutor.
There's a sensor device which is installed inside the piano which senses the playing of the piano. As the piano is being played, it sends electric signals to the computer, and the computer can then determine how well the student is playing in comparison to the music which is being presented on the screen.
The computer exercises get progressively harder, starting with something as simple as naming a note to playing actual songs. Music is displayed on the screen, and if the student plays it incorrectly, the computer marks the wrong note with an X. The student plays it over until he gets it right and is rewarded with a cartoon. You can even compose songs on the computer. It will record and display whatever note you put into it. You piano teachers out there, don't worry. The Allegro Mentor isn't meant to replace you, but to work in conjunction with you to help the student practice and get immediate feedback in between lessons. Texcon, the Phoenix company which developed the computer, says it's unique to the industry. It's fairly inexpensive, too, at $600 for the whole system. Texcon says almost a third of the people who buy pianos don't know how to play them, and that their invention is the perfect companion to a new baby grand. They're counting on consumers buying the idea to the tune of 20,000 units a year. I'm Kathy Kirchner, your Channel 12 Money Miser.
You are listening to Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring by Johann Sebastian Bach. It was written nearly 300 years ago. If he were alive today, not only would his music be vastly different, but but he would undoubtedly compose with the aid of a computer. So would Irving Berlin. So would Richard Rodgers. And, as is actually the case, so do many of our country western artists of today. Music and computers both have an extraordinary impact on our lives. Music has touched our lives for centuries. Computers have had an impact only in the past 20 or 30 years. The Texcon Corporation has developed an innovative product that combines the alluring enchantment of music with today's booming fascination with computers. We call our product the Allegro Mentor, and that translates freely into lively teacher. What the Allegro Mentor does is simply this. It allows you to either learn to play the piano from scratch, or if you already play, to improve your skills. Here's an amazing statistic. Over 18 million people own pianos. And every year, 300,000 more pianos are bought. And believe it or not, 30% of those people can't play a note. 300,000. That's almost as many pianos bought as Cadillacs. And you can bet that nobody buys a caddy who can't drive. Now, if all those people were able to buy an electronic device that would teach them to play in their spare time and in the comfort of their own home, without a teacher, and what's more, would be fun to use, if all of these were available in one single product, would people buy it? We think a lot of them would, and obviously our timing is right. Computers are in place in almost every office, and sales of home computers are skyrocketing. So the concept of using a computer to learn to play the piano is both believable and intriguing. Let's consider what we believe will be the potential market for the Allegro Mentor. One major segment is certainly higher income adults and their children. To most effectively reach this market, what techniques of advertising and distribution will produce the most dramatic results? At first, we plan to utilize the medium of so-called upscale mail-order catalogs, such as the Sharper Image. We will also sell a model of the Allegro Mentor which is compatible with a personal computer through ads and feature articles in computer magazines. Naturally, we will not neglect retail outlets such as Computerland and Software City. Finally, we've been approached by electronic organ manufacturers to produce an OEM version, especially designed to be built into their organs. We at Texcon believe that the Allegro Mentor seems like an obvious product. Why hasn't it been developed before? Well, it turns out to be quite a difficult project. 4 key complex parts were required. First, an inexpensive sensor, which could be placed under the keyboard of any standard piano. This device had to be easy to install, have a long life expectancy, and be inexpensive to produce. This sensor must have the capacity to monitor every one of a piano's 88 keys and provide computerized data relevant to which key was pressed, for how long, and with how much pressure. It also had to have the faculty of being able to point out errors and graphically reward correct performance. Texcon has designed such a sensor and has applied for patents on it. Second, we had to develop a very powerful yet low-cost computer, which is very easy to use. The Allegro Mentor features a computer with 64K of RAM, 32K of ROM, plus a built-in cassette unit which reads the program information. The Allegro Mentor has no typewriter-style keyboard. All activities are controlled by the use of a simple light pen. The only switch is a button to turn the power on. After you've finished using it, the system turns itself off. Then we had to come up with an operating system capable of supporting the functions of the system. And this was tricky. The Allegro Mentor's operating system is very complex because it has to be intelligent enough to track the almost limitless complexity of a musical performance. Texcon actually broke new ground in the fields of both artificial intelligence and pattern recognition. You see, the computer had to be smart enough to figure out not only what the student was actually doing, but also what he or she was trying to do. Finally, And most importantly, we had to develop brand new piano teaching course material for use by the Mentor's software. In addition, this course material had to relate to the student's personal musical preference, whether that be country and western, popular, show tunes, or classical. By the way, we've made the Allegro Mentor compatible with any of the many low-cost electronic keyboard instruments now on the market. While we do not expect to become the next IBM, it is more than reasonable to assume that our annual sales will eventually reach $10 to $20 million. Furthermore, our unique technology makes it all but impossible for competitors to copy our product. While the management of the Texcon Corporation is young and innovative, we are not babes in the woods. Our staff boasts a combined total of over 125 years of hands-on experience in both computer technology and music education. Many of our highly trained engineers hold postgraduate degrees. Our music department is headed by Professor Alvin Marcus, who's had over 20 years' experience in teaching piano at all levels. A few more things need to be said. First, we estimate that the retail price of the Allegro Mentor will fall somewhere between $800 and $1,000. Texcon Corporation is currently seeking $2 million in second-round private placement equity capital in order to continue production and expand our marketing and advertising campaigns. We are also actively inviting endorsements by leading figures in all branches of music. Texcon Corporation has offices and laboratories in Phoenix, Arizona, and has 11 full-time and 5 part-time employees. We've prepared a detailed business plan and private placement prospectus for your examination. Thank you.